We need to consider what Solomon said in Ecclesiastes, as the wisest man ever born of a human father. Lo, this only have I found, he said, that God hath made man upright, but they have sought out many inventions. Ecclesiastes 7:29. There are excuses that we give, like temptation, which just blames Satan. It just removes blame and responsibility from us to the devil. Or our circumstances, which really just blames God or society. Or it's our childhood, which just blames our parents. Or genetics or epigenetics, which, as we said before, just blames our grandparents. Aren't you tired of blaming things in your own life and in the life of others that really don't ever get the job done? I love the phrase that I quote from my grandfather, which is, "You know, son, there's one thing about excuses. They don't get a lick of work done." We need to acknowledge that we can excuse ourselves, we can use circumstances, we can blame others, but it's never going to do anything to improve our life or to have a transformed life which starts in the heart, the soul, from the spirit, that really will transform our life. And we need to stop blaming the brain and the body for problems that we really are responsible for. And it is high time that we take responsibility. One of the things that I wrote down in this iPhone this week out of my clinical experience was patients that, without really saying so, simply come into my office with this request: "Doc, you do something for me or do something to me, just so long as I'm not responsible and I don't have to do anything for myself." Remember, too, in the spiritual realm, that sometimes the darkness that people go through, that we go through, is either authored or allowed by the Lord. In Isaiah, in chapter 50, the prophet said, "Who is among you that feareth the Lord, that obeyeth the voice of his servant, that walketh in darkness, and hath no light? Let him trust in the name of the Lord, and stay upon his God. Behold, all ye that kindle a fire, that compass yourself about with sparks. Walk in the light of your fire, and in the sparks that ye have kindled. This shall ye have of mine hand. Ye shall lie down in sorrow." Isaiah 50:10-11. Another verse, "And he said unto me, My grace is sufficient for thee, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. Most gladly therefore will I rather glory in my infirmities, that the power of Christ may rest upon me. Therefore I take pleasure in infirmities, in reproaches, in necessities, in persecutions, in distresses for Christ's sake. For when I am weak, then I am strong." 2 Corinthians 12:9-10. We all have battles and trials given to us. David said, "This is my infirmity, but I will remember the years of the right hand of the Most High." Psalm 77:10. Solomon said, "I have seen the travail which God hath given to the sons of men to be exercised in it." Ecclesiastes 3:10. These trials, these sufferings that we go through, often are specifically allowed or even caused by the Lord to bring us closer to Him and to bring us to a higher level of spiritual maturity, ministry, and service. And what is the hardest counsel to take when we're desperate? The hardest counsel to take is the one thing that the Israelites in the days of Isaiah needed to do. "For the Egyptians shall help in vain," the prophet said, "and to no purpose. Therefore I have cried concerning this, their strength is to sit still." Isaiah 37. "But they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary, and they shall walk and not faint." Isaiah 40:31. God gives us warnings to avoid going to the world for our answers in times of trial. "Woe unto the rebellious children, saith the Lord, that take counsel, but not of me, and that cover with a covering, but not of my spirit, that they may add sin to sin, that walk to go down to Egypt," the world that is, "and to not ask at my mouth, to strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh, and to trust in the shadow of Egypt. Therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh be your shame, and the trust in the shadow of Egypt your confusion." They were all ashamed of a people that could not profit them, nor be in help nor profit, but a shame and also a reproach. Folks, the world is ashamed that we don't help them. That's Isaiah 30:1-3 and verse 5. Friedrich Nietzsche said in his book, and he's widely quoted as saying, "God is dead." But most people don't know that in Friedrich Nietzsche's book, that he wrote that in, that was a cry against weak, anemic Christianity that wouldn't actually stand for, believe, and preach what the Bible said. The world is dying for us to tell them the truth in love. And they want to run the other way when they see a milquetoast, weak Christianity that will not even stand for the principles that God lays out in Scripture so simply.